Hello and welcome to the Trade Ideas Live Trading Room recap for Friday, October the 16th. My name is Barry Anderson. I'm the moderator of our trading room. This is it, the address to get into the room, and the room is open from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's kind of a slow day for me anyway. Just going to go over a couple of trades, a couple of stocks. This one was the wild one for the day, I guess, CEMP. Here we go. There's the daily on it. So you can see that it has been crushed. It is now down to $16. It closed yesterday around 25. So, looking at almost a $10 drop on this, and it looks like it's going to keep going down. So, of course, we were looking at this, excuse me, we were looking at this one in the room. Uh, Obviously identified it in the pre-market. Let me just get the pre-market up here. So we'd identified it in the pre-market, and actually this was on results. This is a biotech stock, so it's on results. And initially the it popped up, and then it just collapsed. And all sorts of rumors flying around about why it's collapsed. So some people have saying it doesn't meet the endpoint results. This is a phase 3 too, so it's almost done. I mean, there's not much more that it can do. I mean, next if is approval if it's going to happen. So, but anyway, you can see how wild it was. I mean, obviously the news originally was greeted with wild enthusiasm, and then it just collapsed. So here we are, 1595 as we speak. So what did I do on this one? I got very lucky on it actually. Let's just expand it a bit. I originally took a short sale on it at, here, let me just get this a little bit bigger here. Maybe get it to a 5-minute chart. Okay, so I took a short sale on it right around, was it 1823? And it was actually way back here when it was just, nobody could really figure out what the heck it was doing. So where's 1823? Right about there. And so it was right around here. I took a short sale on it, and notice that it came back, it came down. I got out at a really quickly at 1771, right, almost at the bottom here, in fact. But it was, in fact, right. Wow, this is almost at the bottom, so I don't know how I got that, but I got a fill right here at 1771, and then it popped right back up, and then it came back down, and then it went up again, and then you know what? We looked at this now right about here on a 15-minute chart. I think it looks even a little bit better. This is what we're looking at now to see, playing a bounce on it, because a lot of people were saying in the room, well, the news didn't look that bad, and so maybe this was just a way overreaction to the news. And so I ended up taking the long on it at right about here at 18. Right there was actually 1870. Well, I'm going to put the mark here, but it was at 1876. And I sold some almost immediately at 1895, and then got out the balance at 1882. So really, no big deal. But this is what happened, because then all of a sudden it just collapsed as if more news had come out. And I guess I want to say a person at CNBC. I don't. Her name is Meg something or other. I should know probably. But anyway, somebody in the room posted it, that she put out a tweet saying that the results didn't meet the endpoints. And so that's why this was a miss. So I mean, this is how crazy it can be, because I actually said in the room, if you saw this pattern right here, for it, a consolidation. Here's a little bit of a volume surge. Here's the volume bar right there. So volume surge there. It didn't drive it up, but then the next one drove it up. I'm sure that most people would have thought that at the very worst, it might do something like this, maybe drop a little bit, but not have another collapse to it. And it just goes to show, when you're in a stock, and especially a bio, you just never know out of nowhere where news, and how can we call that news? I mean, that's just a tweet, but tweets are now considered news. So out of nowhere it can destroy your trade. I was just very fortunate to get to take early profit and then get out before it really collapsed. So that's just sort of a word for the wise on these sort of stocks, that you just never know. You have to be so diligent on these ones. that, out of nowhere, news can come and just destroy your trade. And really, St. STJ, that was a tough one. I took a loss on this one. STJ actually came from where did that come from? I think that was a 30-minute. Let me get to a 30-minute chart, and I think I'll be able to show you. Yeah, it was right here. Yes. So this was a 30-minute RBI. And so, here's the green candle, here's the red candle, and here's the green candle. Notice how the red candle is totally engulfed by this previous green candle. So I actually waited on SDJ to get above 68. I took the trade right in this level here at 68.15. It did pop up, but then it came right back down, and I actually exited for at 68.05 for a loss on this one. So, and it just continued down. So again, people ask me, well, this is not that wasn't a good strategy. This is not a strategy. This is pattern recognition. So all we're asking the software to do is to recognize this pattern. And then after that, you have to figure out if you want to take the trade. And I didn't mind it. I mean, it popped through 68, so it got through the whole number. It did look like it was going to have a bit of a run. If you look at the daily, I don't think it's not a bad daily. You might look at some resistance in this level. So I thought I had a little bit of room to run, and it just didn't do it. Now the other one that did work though, and this was on the RBI 15, and that was VTR. Let's get to the 15-minute chart. Oops, show you what I mean. So right here, again, here's the green candle, here's the red candle, here's the green candle. So the red candle is totally engulfed by this green candle. Now and here was the trigger actually the trigger itself was, if I bring it out here, just gotta grab the alert. The trigger was actually at 56.63, 56.63. And I got in a little bit late. I took the trade at 56.79 actually. Now you have to remember not a lot was happening today. So, I was just kind of almost scrounging around for something to do. But I didn't mind this one. I mean, the bar was good. I mean, I'm a little bit far away from where the alert was. But the bottom line is I took the trade right around here. Obviously was really hoping that it would pop through 57. It did briefly. I actually sold some on the way up at 56.93. So I sold some right around here, 56.93, and then I sold some on the way down as it just didn't want to pop through 57. High hopes for it to pop through that 57 and just keep going for a little bit. Again, wasn't asking much in the market for me today. And oh, 1 second, please. Okay, phone call is over. So now, what was I talking about? Of course, I was talking about VTR. So I was out at 93 and 89, and it just, really didn't do too much after that. If you look at the daily, think of the daily. Yeah, the daily wasn't, it wasn't too bad. I mean, it might have given us I wasn't looking for very much today. I mean, this is not a great daily either. A great daily would have been none of this, but the void up to there, obviously. But, so when I look at the daily, I thought, well, maybe it'll give us 50 cents or so. Again, I wasn't looking for too much today. And now there is one that we might want to keep on radar for next week. This one didn't pan out yet, but here's the daily on Depot. And Depot it was a 30-minute. Let's get the 30-minute chart up. It was right here. It was a 30-minute RBI. So here again, here's the red candle, 30-minute, green, red, green. So we looked at this one, and I basically said, well, I want to wait for it. The trigger was actually at 2021, so the trigger would have been right at the right here in this area. So I looked at that and I thought, well, okay, let's take a look and see if it can get back over 20. Now it didn't do that, obviously, but again, if you look at the daily chart, you're going to see what I really like about it. So here's the daily chart. So here's the void. So obviously, I mean, I have a broker alert at about 2030, right over the high of that spike there. If it can get above that, Not today necessarily, may not happen at all today, but sometime next week. Here's the beautiful void that we have to look forward to. Again, does it mean that it's going to continue on up? Nobody can absolutely know, but it gives us a decent shot. We're not the only traders who see this sort of a pattern, and so the more traders who pile into something like this, seeing what we're all seeing, the better. As long as we kind of get in, we're an early adopter. And let's see, TSN was the only other one. I wonder if it's come back. I'm out of that one. Yeah, it came back a little bit, but again, very erratic. I think this one was another, yeah, this was another 30-minute, let's bring back the 30-minute candle here, 30-minute chart here. Yeah, right here. See, this was interesting. Here again, red candle, red candle, totally engulfed. And so it hadn't run away too much. And so I took the trade, as it went over 45, it was kind of chopping around this area. And so I took the trade at 45.09. I mean, this is no great shakes, guys. I'm just showing you this because, this is actually kind of what we're looking for. The trend, big, nice trend up, a little bit of a stall, and then maybe the resumption. And it could still do that. I mean, look at what's happening. I may have been premature in getting out of it. But bottom line is I got in at 45.09 and I exited at 45.19 and 45.15 as this candle was forming going down. But you have to love this trend here. The problem is that the SPY was weak at this time too. It was just starting to move down and down and down. Initially, this TSN was going up and the SPY was going down, and I commented in the room that that was obviously a nice sign. But eventually it just started to move down also. So decided to get out of it. Didn't want to try to buck the trend against the SPY. And there's only one other one that I wanted to briefly mention, and that was CDZI. CDZZI. So again, this is why we're watching this one. This is on the daily chart. So look at the beautiful void here. Now, has anything happened? Not quite. Did pop up to 383. Now, why I'm bringing this one up at all is that 2 days ago, we had an alert on this at 333, 332, something in this area. Now, obviously, it didn't do anything, but this is a sort of pattern that you have to follow this because if it wants to, I mean, it's come a bit of a way, 270, but it hasn't completely run away. But if it can base here a little bit and then pop through, $4, I mean, you've got a void up to $8. So I mean, on a percentage basis, this could give us a really nice trade. So I would keep watching this one next week. All right, that's it for me today. Let's see, make sure there's nothing else I wanted to cover. I think that's it. Okay, well, let's back this out. Again, here's how to get into the trading room. We're open from 9 to 4 o'clock. Usually stick around a little bit later to answer some questions. But everybody have a great weekend, and we'll see you in the trading room on Monday.